Call the meeting of the Conservation Commission for February 5th open. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for January 15th.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Our continued public hearing for map 60, lot 22, South Street has requested a continuance.
To April 12th, I think.
April 2nd. First available meeting in April is what he said, but
Yep.
that would be the second.
That being said,
Motion to continue till April 2nd.
Second.
moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's done. Administrative discussions, Scotland Street, the land lease. I believe we have to vote to ratify that. It's been approved, John, by all the parties above us.
Yes, as my report indicates, everything is in order. We have the insurance certificate protecting the town and the Conservation Commission for each occurrence at $1,500,000 and for an aggregate claim of $4 million. So $1,500,000 for an incident and or one claim and a total of $4 million for all claims that could be made.
And what was the, what kind of maintenance would you foresee in that?
Well, there's no maintenance on their part. It's they would just maintain their own. But the lease fee that we are getting each year, plus the retroactive that I noted in the report, will be used to, if we need to hire someone to go in and take down an invasive species, if we need to do any cutting out there,
Sure.
then we can use that money instead of out of the town's coffers.
How big a piece is it?
110 acres.
Oh, that's the one we've been talking
Right,
about. Oh,
but
okay, I'm sorry. Okay, that
But if you want to see, the parcel that they're actually looking to use is this chunk of it.
But the hours is really, I mean, the 100.
Right, it's what, maybe,
It's probably an acre
An
out
acre.
of the whole 110.
Yeah, okay. So,
I will
need a
entertain a motion to authorize me to sign the lease agreement for the field on Scotland Street.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Who seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, John, for getting that done.
You're welcome.
Been a long process. We have 164 Lincoln Street, request for certificate of compliance.
All right, I inspected we received the as-built last week, and I inspected the site today, and I noticed that they didn't put up all the conservation markers as they were supposed to be set according to the approved plan that the Commission issued the order on. And then also the engineer, when he did his as-built, didn't even indicate those that had been done. So that, plus the fact that we have no grass growing out there due to the time of year, I'm recommending a surety of $3,500.
That should be enough.
Seating, setting in the sensor before we sign it off.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
You can see how those things slip through the cracks, right? 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, and if we didn't have them.
That's right.
Oh, wait a minute, you don't need it. Yeah, you can have all of it. I don't know if I identified that, but I did.
Continue public hearings. Agents report.
All right, let's see. 153 Scotland Street is the area where the gentleman did some lawn grading and filling and created some drainage issues out there. So I was not at the last meeting, but the engineer had indicated that he was hired, and in fact he was, and I saw some evidence of his work when he came in this week. And he's making progress. He expects to have a actual drawing into the commission at the next meeting, which is the 19th. On 373 Crescent Street, where we have a similar situation, I did receive a draft copy of the existing conditions. The engineers asked me to look it over and make comments and suggestions, and he will, and it's the same engineer, he will be in on the 19th to bring the commission up to date on that one. So I intend to talk to him between now and then to give him my comments and suggestions that might help expedite the situation a little bit. So there really is it's just an update and no actions required. The other issue that we need to discuss, and it's in my report, it's in reference to Mr. Adams. He was here at the meeting that I was not in attendance, and he showed everyone a copy, the commission, a copy of the plan, and I've given you a small version of it. The shaded area is the wetland, and he's recorded it at the registry, so it's already recorded at the registry. And he's indicated that the shaded area is the restricted area. And he's titled the plan Conservation Restriction Plan for Ames Drive. And then there's a note on the plan that the wetland line was taken from previous plans that they had worked on. So you'll notice on the bottom of the sheet, the dashed line, and the dashed line is the 50-foot buffer. So as you recall, we allowed him to intrude into the 50-foot buffer to be able to build his house. And by him recording this plan, restricting the wetlands, which we already know can't be built upon, there's in effect really no restriction because you can't build in wetlands. He has not encumbered any part of that 50-foot buffer, and so in effect he hasn't given you any mitigation for granting him a waiver to be able to put that house closer than 50 feet to the wetlands. So in the order of conditions, the special order says that we need to prepare a document and have the document recorded referring to a plan. So my idea is to refer to this plan and also restrict the 50-foot buffer everywhere where the commission didn't allow a difference in the 50-foot buffer, where you allowed him to go closer and restrict all the other 50-foot buffers. And in effect, get what we were really looking for, where this plan doesn't give you what you're looking for. So if you're in agreement, I'll start working on that and maybe have a document for you to look at the next meeting.
He was supposed to be putting the wetland markers at the 50-foot, correct?
In accordance with our special conditions, yes.
So the plan, theoretically, that's coming up should have markers showing on the plan at the 50-foot line. We should have.
Well, I think the order, his original plan did not indicate where the markers were going to go. So the special conditions were written saying you will put those markers along the 50-foot buffer where, including where the commission allowed a closer buffer. And at, I think, like either the 40 or 50-foot spacing. I don't have it with me.
But I mean, if we require that once it's done, having also a recorded plan with those on it as part of the as-built.
Well, the as-built would show those. It wouldn't be recorded, but it would be in our files.
If we could, I'm just trying to tie that in so that we get as much as we can from him recording what's. Because I mean, I thought they were going to be on this, and they're not.
I reviewed the YouTube, and I kind of got that impression that there was a little bit misunderstanding of what they were actually trying to say.
Yeah. I thought we were going to see the restriction on here where the 50-foot was. It wasn't.
Where's the house? Here?
The house will be kind of in
Over here.
Yeah.
So how's he getting across this?
This is where on the plan you have the driveway that went across here, and that's why this little finger is the replication, because he's crossing here to get in.
So this isn't a final plan of any kind, doesn't even.
This
doesn't show that, does
this
it?
got recorded as a restricted area. So just by them recording the plan doesn't restrict it. You have to have a document that says that.
This is just showing the restricted areas.
Right, yeah.
Okay, to
But-
begin with.
Which it's really only showing is the wetland area, not the restricted area. Where he put area within restricted,
Right.
it's really wetland area restricted. Not, because our bylaw doesn't lay out anywhere on this document. All it's showing is the wetland line, really.
Okay. All right.
And
That makes sense.
So in
they're
in
gonna
effect,
go
this
along here then.
yeah, I mean, it's going to kind of, I think we kind of gave him a box
Yeah.
and squared it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in effect, this was really a waste of time and money for the applicant to have had his engineer prepare, because it doesn't restrict anything that we already have a restriction on by the state statute and your bylaw.
Right.
But your bylaw goes further and says that you restrict the 50 feet as well, and they don't show that on here. So I'm proposing that we write the conservation easement that we normally do, referring to this plan, but also including in words, restricting the 50-foot buffer. We're not allowed to be encroached upon by the commission's order of conditions.
Gotcha.
So
Ties it
that
up.
that gets that restricted, and then the special conditions do require conservation markers to be put along the 50-foot buffer, and again, where you allowed it to be closer, it would go along that line as well. And that's what he does not want to have. He does not want that, and he's already stated that. So we will be seeing him once he starts hearing that we're going to require this. He'll be back again to argue with you.
I thought last time he was here that that's pretty much what he agreed to.
Yeah. I mean, I said the markers will
Yeah.
be going in along the 50 foot. And oh yeah, that'll be part of the.
So you think he'll
So-
be back?
Yep.
He said.
And what do you think of the rationale is so that the he's going to say he'll have trouble selling the property with those markers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else does that you, and this 164 Lincoln Street,
Yeah.
it's a brand-new home with these markers that are already out there, plus the additional ones that they were supposed to put in. It's sold.
Yeah.
People have bought it, so it's not a deterrent in any way. And maybe to some people it might, but
Yeah.
there's always someone who wants to buy that house.
Sure.
What do you want us to put in a chain link fence? I mean,
That's the next step.
I mean,
I mean,
to me the markers are a little.
I would say stockade.
Yeah, I mean, or
Stockade,
something.
but
I mean,
post and rail.
Yeah.
You want to do that, or
And I think, I'm pretty sure it still says that they can paint those white markers green so that you don't see them as obvious as big white post out there. So
okay? I guess we'll deal with that when he's back.
I'll prepare a document for the next meeting that will describe this a little better,
Okay.
and then that's if the commission wants me to, and then we can send it out to them and say, this is it.
Yeah.
and he won't want to sign it, and he'll want to come in and argue with you. So, we can take it up at that point. But they can't get a building permit until this is all resolved. So there is some incentive to come to some conclusion. And I think you've already, based on your, excuse me, your discussion at the last meeting when I reviewed the YouTube, you did relent on having that footpath trail across his driveway and up to the back lot.
Right.
Right.
So you've given some, and you already gave him some by allowing him to
50.
intrude within the 50-foot buffer. So
That's
I think
the
you've done
line.
enough. I think it's up to them now to comply, and otherwise.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not willing to give any more, so.
No, not when they're not
End of
offering
the-
anything more
End
than
of the
just...
line.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Anything to sign? For expenses or...
Nope, you
Okay.
already signed the two things I had by you.
And I'm all set. I've got everything
Okay,
covered.
the only other thing on our agenda were continued hearings for the 19th and then April.
Loop Drive is going to be bumped into April.
Okay.
who is,
Luke Drive,
okay.
those are all
And we
being...
have 3 new filings already for the 19th. So it will average out time-wise.
Ames Drive, do we need a motion to put it on the agenda for next meeting?
No.
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 Okay.
Yeah, I was just letting anybody that may watch this know that if they're looking for any of these continued hearings, they're moved way out.
And that's one of the things in your packet now. So that
Oh, yes. Handed out were
I'm gonna read this.
the new packet that we hand out to applicants
Mhm.
with everything new that we had come up with. The new
hope-
fees schedule and everything else are in
Excellent.
there.
there's
So,
a new letter in there to go to the abutters. I hope that all of our routine consultants will have that as a email package, and when they walk in, there'll be hard copy packages.
Should
It'll be
make
on the
things
website.
easier for you.
And we'll also, once we've got it finalized, we're going to put it on the website so that an engineer that may be out of town that doesn't normally practice in this town could review the website, see these checklists, these requirements, and be able to come in, hopefully, with everything just the way we want it.
especially with the stormwater
Yes.
bylaw that we have to have in there. That's a good piece added in. So. Other than that,
Gentlemen.
that's my son.
Oh,
He came along for a ride.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I see the
Having nothing
resemblance.
else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.